Story 1. The Whispering Shadows of Ural Forest. In the heart of Colorado's Ural Forest, where ancient pines stretch toward a sky that seems to hold secrets in its vastness, two cousins, Ethan and Cody, embarked on what they hoped would be a rejuvenating midweek escape. It was the summer of their early 20s. Ethan at 22, still finding his footing in the world, and Cody at 23, an Eagle Scout whose confidence in the wilderness was as unyielding as the granite peaks surrounding them. Their jobs, mercifully flexible, allowed them to slip away from the grind of city life on a Wednesday when the trails were quiet and the forest belonged only to those bold enough to claim it. They parked near a deserted picnic area, the kind where faded signs and weathered tables hinted at forgotten family outings. With packs slung over their shoulders, they ventured deeper into the woods, the crunch of pine needles underfoot mingling with the distant call of a hawk. After a quarter hour of hiking, they stumbled upon a clearing, a perfect canvas for their camp. It was large enough for 2 tents, a portable stove, and a fire pit with a natural barrier of trees that seemed to whisper promises of solitude. Cody, ever the expert, had his tent up in minutes, the fabric snapping taut with practiced precision. Ethan, however, fumbled with his poles and stakes, his laughter echoing as Cody teased him for taking nearly half an hour to erect what was, admittedly, a pitiful shelter. As dusk painted the sky in hues of amber and violet, they built a fire, the flames casting flickering shadows that danced across the clearing. Cody, a culinary wizard in the wild, grilled steaks and burgers, the aroma rising into the crisp evening air. They cracked open beers, the clink of bottles a toast to their freedom, and let classic rock spill from a portable speaker, its notes weaving through the trees. The forest, alive with the hum of nocturnal creatures, seemed to embrace their presence, and for a while they were kings of this untamed kingdom, reminiscing about childhood pranks and dreams yet to be chased. But as night deepened, the forest's embrace grew colder. They were deep into a heated game of Uno, the folding table wobbling under their enthusiasm, when a sound pierced the music, a low, deliberate humming, accompanied by the unmistakable crunch of footsteps. Ethan froze, his fingers hovering over a wild card. He silenced the speaker, and the forest's silence roared in response. The humming grew clearer, a tuneless melody that seemed to mock their isolation. Footsteps, heavy and purposeful, circled just beyond the firelight's reach, hidden in the pitch-black void of the trees. "Cody, flashlight," Ethan whispered, his voice tight. Cody's eyes, usually steady, betrayed a flicker of unease as he rummaged through his pack. By the time Ethan's trembling hands found the flashlight, the sounds had vanished, swallowed by the night. Cody, trying to reclaim his authority, dismissed it as a hiker, perhaps lost or curious. But his words lacked conviction. "People out here at this hour, humming like that, it's unusual," he admitted, his gaze darting to the darkness. They resumed their game, the music now a faint murmur, but the forest no longer felt like a sanctuary. Then, without warning, a thick branch sailed into the clearing, landing with a thud that sent cards scattering. Ethan's heart lurched as Cody leapt to his feet, shouting into the void, "Whoever's out there, get a life and piss off!" His voice echoed, unanswered, but the retreating crunch of footsteps confirmed they weren't alone. Ethan urged they pack up and flee, but Cody, ever pragmatic, refused to navigate the dark forest. "We've got bear spray," he said, his tone more resolute than his eyes. "We stay put." They agreed to take turns keeping watch, a plan born of necessity rather than bravery. Cody took the first shift, settling by the dying fire with a book, while Ethan crawled into his tent, clutching his bear spray like a talisman. Sleep came fitfully, the forest's whispers now menacing. Hours later, Ethan jolted awake, his senses muddled by the cold and the unfamiliar. A shadow loomed at his tent's entrance, a head silhouetted against the nylon. "Cody," he mumbled, rubbing sleep from his eyes. The figure didn't move, didn't speak. Ethan's groggy mind sharpened as the zipper snapped shut and the shadow vanished. Heart pounding, he scrambled out, calling for Cody, only to find the campsite empty, the fire reduced to embers. He stumbled to Cody's tent, unzipping it to reveal his cousin, fast asleep, oblivious to the world. The realization hit Ethan like a physical blow. The figure wasn't Cody. Panic surged as he shook Cody awake, stammering about the intruder. Cody, groggy but alert, grabbed his bear spray and insisted Ethan sleep in his tent. As Ethan retrieved his sleeping bag, the humming returned. Closer now, a sinister serenade from the trees. They huddled in Cody's tent, bear spray at the ready, the hours stretching into an eternity of dread. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves was a potential threat. When dawn finally broke, they packed in silence, the forest beauty now tainted by fear. They hiked back to their car, the promise of another night in the wild abandoned. 6 years later, Ethan still shudders at the memory of that head in the dark, a specter that haunts his dreams and keeps him from ever camping again. Story 2. The Watcher on the Shore. The Florida coast, with its endless beaches and sun-drenched charm, was the perfect backdrop for a getaway. 4 friends, Jake, John, Travis, and Liam, piled into a cramped sedan, their laughter drowning out the hum of the engine as they headed for a rented beach house. The house, modest compared to the sprawling mansions lining the road, sat on a quiet strip where the bay lapped at one side and the ocean roared at the other. Its 4 bedrooms promised privacy, and the back deck, just 2 steps from the sand, offered a front-row seat to the Atlantic's majesty. They arrived under a blazing afternoon sun, unloading their bags as the salty breeze tugged at their clothes. The house's interior was unremarkable but clean, its walls adorned with seashell art and a decorative surfboard that leaned jauntily in the living room. Jake claimed a bedroom with a view of the beach, the ocean's rhythmic pulse already lulling him into a sense of escape. After settling in, they spilled onto the sand, diving into the waves and tossing a football until their skin was kissed by salt and sun. The beach was theirs alone, save for an elderly couple strolling far in the distance, their figures hazy in the heat. As evening fell, they ventured into town, dining on fresh seafood and hopping from bar to bar, the night blurring into a haze of laughter and clinking glasses. By the time they Ubered back, the moon hung high, casting a silver path across the ocean. Emboldened by alcohol, they took to the beach again, their drunken football game a chaotic dance under the stars. Jake, sprinting to catch a wayward throw, froze as his eyes caught something in the water. A figure standing waist-deep, motionless, illuminated by the moon's reflection. "What the hell is that?" he called, his voice sharp with unease. His friends followed his gaze, confirming the sight. "Probably just a local," Travis shrugged, but the hour, well past midnight, made it feel wrong. They retreated to the deck, beers in hand, trying to shake the oddity. Jake and John lingered longest, the ocean's murmur a backdrop to their conversation. Every so often, Jake glanced toward the water, half expecting the figure to reappear. Then he saw it, not in the water, but on the beach. A solitary figure stood motionless, facing the house, their silhouette stark against the sand. "John, you see that?" Jake whispered. John nodded, his eyes narrowing. The figure didn't move, didn't wave, just stood, an unspoken challenge in their stillness. Jake, emboldened by frustration, shouted, "Everything okay?" The words hung unanswered, and John hissed, "Why'd you do that?" Jake had no answer, only a growing sense of dread. Creeped out, they retreated inside, the house's warmth a stark contrast to the chill of the night. Travis and Liam, already asleep, missed the encounter. Jake, unable to settle, brushed his teeth and paused at his bedroom window, drawn to the ocean's allure. His breath caught as he saw the figure again, now standing just beyond the deck, facing his window with unnerving precision. The moonlight revealed a masculine frame, broad and unyielding. "John!" Jake called, his voice trembling. He pounded on John's door, dragging him to the window, but the figure had vanished, leaving only the empty beach. "I swear it was there," Jake insisted, and John, pale, believed him. Sleep eluded Jake as he lay in bed, the blinds drawn tight. His thoughts churned. Who was that person, and why were they watching? The answer came in a series of soft, deliberate knocks on his window. His body froze, his heart a frantic drum. Another set of knocks followed, lighter but no less menacing. He wanted to scream, to demand who was there, but fear silenced him. Instead, he bolted to the living room, shouting for his friends. One by one, they emerged, bleary-eyed and confused. They checked the windows, the deck, the front and sides of the house. Nothing. The deck lights stayed on that night, a feeble shield against the unknown. The next morning, Jake and John visited the nearest neighbors, hoping for answers. One, an older man with weathered skin, shared a chilling tale. A week earlier, someone had knocked on his door in the dead of night, refusing to answer when questioned, their persistent tapping a silent threat. The connection was too close for comfort. The group spent the day exploring, trying to reclaim the vacation's joy, but the shadow of the previous night lingered. They left the following day, the unanswered question of who or what had watched them await they carried home. Jake still wonders what he might have seen if he dared to lift the blind. Story 3. The Voices at the Door. At 9 years old, James was a boy of boundless curiosity, his world confined to the familiar walls of his family's suburban home. His mother, a single parent juggling work and 2 children, occasionally left him alone for brief errands, trusting his independence. That night, with his little sister at a friend's house and his mother out grocery shopping, James was engrossed in Metroid Prime on his GameCube, the glow of the screen casting shadows across his upstairs bedroom. The house, usually alive with the chatter of family, felt unnaturally still, its silence a canvas for his imagination. The shrill ring of the house phone shattered his focus. His mother's rule was clear: always answer, in case it's her. He raced downstairs, the carpet muffling his steps, and grabbed the receiver by the 4th ring. The caller ID displayed his mother's cell phone number, and relief washed over him. "Sweetie, can you come outside and help with the groceries?" the voice said. James paused, a prickle of unease creeping up his spine. The voice was his mother's, yet it wasn't. Its cadence was wrong, the word sweetie alien in its syrupy tone. "Mom?" he ventured, his voice small. "Yes," the voice replied, but the hesitation in it deepened his doubt. "Why do you sound like that?" he asked, his young mind grappling with the dissonance. "Like what, sweetie?" came the response, and James's instinct screamed. He slammed the phone down, his heart racing. The phone rang again, his mother's number flashing. He ignored it, backing away as if the device itself were a threat. Minutes later, it rang a 3rd time, but the caller ID showed an unfamiliar number. Hesitant, he answered, and a man's voice, smooth and unsettling, greeted him. "Hey, James, I know this sounds weird, but it's your dad." "I'm outside." James's world tilted. His father had died when he was 3, a figure known only through photos and his mother's stories. "What?" he whispered, fear choking his voice. "I'm outside," the man repeated. "I have a lot to explain." James hung up, his hands trembling. The phone rang again, and again, each call a relentless assault on his courage. Then came the knocks, sharp, deliberate raps at the front door. James's breath hitched. His mother would use her key, not knock. Peering from the kitchen, he saw the door's outline, the muffled voice of a man calling his name. "It's your dad," the voice said, followed by the chime of the doorbell and the jiggle of the doorknob. Panic surged, and James did what no child should. He dialed 911. The operator's calm voice guided him, asking for his address and urging him to hide in a lockable room. He chose the 1st-floor bathroom, locking the door and plunging into darkness. Outside, the intruder's efforts intensified. James heard the scrape of a window being tested, the thud of footsteps circling the house. Each sound was a violation, a reminder of his vulnerability. The stranger tried every window, every door, their persistence a silent promise of intent. James curled into a ball, the phone pressed to his ear, the operator's voice his only lifeline. Finally, she announced the police's arrival. Trembling, he crept to the front door, opening it only when he saw the officers' uniforms. He hung up, the weight of the ordeal crashing over him. The police searched the house and yard, finding no one. James explained his mother's absence and the stolen phone, his voice shaking as he recounted the voices. When his mother returned, her panic at seeing police cars melted into horror as James told his story. Her phone, an old Nokia flip, had been stolen, its contents, address, home number, a photo of her with James and his sister. likely betraying their vulnerability. The thieves, a man and a woman, had used that information to craft their ruse, preying on a child's trust. The phone was never recovered, likely destroyed after their failed attempt. Life changed after that night. James's mother, haunted by the near miss, never left him alone again until he was older. The memory of those voices, so close yet so wrong, lingers in James's mind, a reminder of the predators who hide behind familiar faces, waiting for a door to open.